Over the past couple of days, I have come across some content on YouTube and on LinkedIn where the content creators mentioned receiving nasty, mean comments from what they refer to as trolls in their comment sections. And then they described how they were reacting to those comments and what their kind of behaviour was. And I felt compelled to create this video to share my own personal experience, but also through the lens of psychology, neuroscience, behaviour psychology, the underlying reason why people post negative, mean, nasty comments on the social media threads and what they're trying to get out of it. And yes, there are ways that we can actually respond, but those potentially have also got underlying reasons as to why we are choosing to behave in any particular way. Hurt people hurt other people. They have got wounds within themselves that they have not addressed or dealt with as part of their childhood or early adulthood. And as a result, they then react. They see a post that someone is saying about their success story, and that acts as a mirror to reflect their own insecurities, their own failed accomplishments. And therefore, in order for them to feel that fraction better about themselves, they then say a mean and nasty thing in response. When in actual fact, that reflects the inner dialogue, the inner torment, pain and suffering that commenter is experiencing themselves. Now, does it make it right? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that they are a bad person? No, it doesn't. They are just a hurt person. In today's society on social media, we all have an opinion, and some of us behind a keyboard feel more confident to actually respond, especially when we're maybe not quoting our real name, our credentials on the post. We feel a little bit more inclined to be braver and just post an opinion. We're all entitled to our own opinion, but understanding where that opinion originated is actually fundamental to then how you respond to that comment. And that insecurity that is brought up to the hurt person might be that they didn't feel, or they still don't feel, that they're good enough, that any success is available to them, whether that is getting a viral video themselves or getting monetized on YouTube, which is a big thing, or that they're actually not successful. They don't have the money, they don't have the validation that people make them feel that they matter. And this is because they're looking externally for all those validations rather than doing the inner work. And I totally appreciate not everyone is self-aware. Not everyone is willing to do the uncomfortable at times self-reflection, be curious and inquisitive as to why we think and feel and behave that we do. However, that is usually the underlying reason why there are people posting mean and nasty and unkind comments in the various social media sections of content creators' posts. Even if the post resonates with a vast majority of people, there's always going to be someone that it actually triggers, because that post is actually a mirror to show the person where they are not free. It's actually because they don't have the money, they don't have the subscribers, they don't have the engagement and interaction with their community if they are already a content creator themselves. And it's easy to sit behind a keyboard, not have your official credentials on display, and just spout out opinions. So what options do we have when those nasty, mean comments surface? You can either react, and you can do it from two perspectives. You can either react and tell them they are wrong and they are nasty and mean, and just tell them more of the things that they probably already are feeling and experiencing, so you're validating that for them. And then they just think no one cares, and then it just continues and it just fuels that thread and that kind of the emotions that are not necessarily helpful. Or you could try and explain that no, they are not, the information that they're saying is not factually correct. You try and be kind by sharing another perspective, but that still fuels the situation, because if the person that did put the mean comment was really open to seeing things from another perspective, the reality is they would have done the self-inquiry first, and they would have never then posted that comment in the first place. The second option is to ignore it. Either delete it or just leave it there, but just do not respond back to it. The reality is it takes a lot of inner strength and resilience to let a comment like that still stay on your feed and not for it to not play in your own internal dialogue, because that mean nasty comment is going to trigger something within you as well. It's going to make you sort of either doubt yourself or think that people are unkind and that they're being mean and nasty for no reason whatsoever. When in actual fact, there is a third way. And the third way is to actually respond from a place of kindness, compassion, and with the intention to help the person that posted the nasty, mean comment to find peace, to find healing. We are all spiritual beings having this human experience. So we are all light and love. And kind and compassion is at our core. And if we tap into that and respond back, not with justifying, not with explaining, but just by simply saying, I am sending you love and light with the hope that the wounded part of you is able to heal and let go of the pain and suffering that you are carrying. Now, it's their choice to take that on board. And if they choose not to, that is their decision. They get to stay in that pain and suffering, but someone has shown them kindness and compassion. Someone has heard them, has seen and validated that they're in pain. And if that still doesn't resonate with them, then that is still their choice. But at least you've not fueled that negativity. You've not ignored it, but then internalized it. You have demonstrated more of who you are, which is a kind, compassionate, loving person. Now, through my own experience, back in June 2025, I experienced a family situation to which I reacted in such a mean and nasty way. Now, I don't identify as a mean and nasty person, but I had a wounded part of me that felt that it wasn't being heard, that it wasn't being understood, that it was being taken advantage of, and therefore it reacted. That situation and the way that I handled it created a lot of internal self-inquiry. I spent a lot of days and hours doing self-reflection, journaling, figuring out why I still had that wound. And then I was able to release that wound, heal it, let it go, in order for that part to really get the opportunity to live in its fullness, in its core values, in a way that it was free, rather than carrying that wound from the past that it wasn't meant to carry at any point in time, but it did, because this is where our thoughts aren't always to be believed. The beliefs that we have carried and we've applied in our life, it's learned behaviour, but we can get to rewire it, we can let it go. And also the other perspective that I want to share is that some people, when their energy is low, when they see something or read something that triggers that wounded part within them, then because their energy is low, they're actually reacting. They're not responding from a place of kindness and intention. So you will get some people that will troll, but they're not genuinely nasty, mean, unkind people. They can just be people with low energy, and they have then just reacted to a situation. So it's up to you if you want to take on board my perspective. If you've got another point of view, I'd love to hear what it is. I am open-minded enough to be able to take on board other people's views and opinions, but at the same time, because of the research that I've done in psychology and into behaviour as part of my training and also my own transformational journey, I've come to realise that now I wouldn't behave in the same manner as I did back in June. That was a protective mechanism for me, and now that I've realised that that pattern can surface when my energy isn't at full capacity, when I am thinking thoughts that are not helpful and kind, therefore I then react. Where if I become more present, more aware, I respond from a place of intention, kindness and compassion, then I get to be my best version, and then I get to ripple that into the world, because I believe it was Gandhi that said, be the change you want to see in the world. And this is where, if we want the world and people to be kinder, more self-aware, more compassionate, we have to learn to respond from a place of love, light, kindness and compassion. We shouldn't be reacting. We shouldn't be making people feel even more wrong for already hurting in the first place. And ignoring it, but then internalizing it, that creates wounds within ourselves. So let's be kinder to ourselves and kinder to one another. So if this content has resonated in any way or form, please give it a like, subscribe if you've not already done so. If you think someone in your life would benefit from hearing another perspective to these mean type nasty comments that may surface on social media, please share this with them. There's lots of content on my channel. I'm experimenting and trying different things. So if there's something that you want me to sort of address and share, then please let me know in the comments below. So I want you to go out and seize the day. When you see a comment on social media that may trigger you, pause, reflect, and then respond from a place of kindness and compassion. And remember, there's always choices in life, so choose wisely. Bye until the next one.